What's up? Hey, hello, everyone. We are here doing our Survivor Season 32 Brains, Brawn, Beauty, Co. Wrong, Episode 6. We are one episode from the merge, so this is the second episode when all the tribes have been tribe swapped out of their original Brains, Brawn, Beauty alliance. So it's so crazy. This episode, I feel like, was really good. It wasn't sort of so obvious as sometimes after the tribe swaps are, but it had a lot of strategy and really sets it up for the merge, which is next week. And we really saw a lot from the invisible characters who we were like, are they still even on the show? So my name is Rachel.
And I'm Alyssa, and we're really excited to get to share this with you guys, and we're sorry that we're a day late. There were some scheduling conflicts. Anyways, so the way this episode started, I thought was pretty amazing because it was literally just Debbie talking about how much she loved Nick. And I think that's a little bit adorable because, like, Debbie used to annoy me, but she's kind of like a fungus. Like, she grows on you until she's taken over you. And so I think that her, like, little, like, crush on Nick is really cute.
Yeah, we all sort of like underestimated Debbie from the beginning, saying how, she's going to annoy everyone out there, but she is like literally the most liked person basically out there. She can read people so well. And I was on the Debbie train. My OTP, Debbie and Nick. And then Alyssa knows before this Wednesday, I was just sending to our group chat like all of these pictures of Nick. I was like, so, yes, for Nick.
It was a little bit creepy. Um, but yeah, Debbie and Nick, I like how she keeps comparing him to Greek stuff. Like, she called him a Greek god last week, and what did she call him? Adonis?
Yeah.
Adonis? How do you say that name? Yeah, she called him that. So obviously he's super attractive, and yeah.
I don't know where Nick's been all of our lives, but I thought it was so funny when Debbie was like, I'm a part-time model, and then right afterwards, during her confessional thing, it said as her new job,
Yeah.
it said part-time model, and then it changes every time, so it's like waitress or chemist, so it's just so funny.
The
And
producers have such a great sense of humor with that. Like, I'm so glad that they didn't decide to, like, take it seriously. Just
yeah,
like,
they're trying to
former
promote all of these.
FBI agent? Question mark?
They're trying to promote all of these showmances that won't actually ever happen. We can talk about Neil and Nick later, but I ship that too. So Debbie says she can read people really well. Nick says he can read people really well, and Nick is saying he knows Debbie has a thing for him, but she could be faking it to try to like get his vote or whatever. I don't.
I personally, from what we've seen so far, Debbie is a lot better at reading people than Nick is, because I think
Yeah.
Nick brings in an element of cockiness. We're like, of course I'm the best. So he doesn't have hair to flip though, but I do think that would be amusing. So boys, grow out your hair so you can do hair flips.
The man bun.
Yes, be like Joe, have a man bun, and then flip your man bun.
Alas, moving on. We have the reward challenge. So, you want to explain that?
You can do it.
Oh, okay. I remember what it is now. I was having like a brain fart. Okay. So, they were in the water, and it seems like they're on the same beach for like all of these things, but they're changing the stuff, but I'm not sure. Who knows? But they're like in the water, then you have to jump out and release the buoys and then herd all the buoys onto the beach, and then they shoot baskets basically to win the food reward. So Anna got voted out last time, and then Julia comes in, and Anna and Julia were like the closest allies, so it's really interesting because you come in and you take her spot, but you're sort of like, oh dang, I feel bad and stuff, and it's like your number one is gone and you weren't even a part of it or you didn't know about it.
Yeah, I think that kind of sucks, but like, I honestly don't know how they could have expected Scott to lose the reward challenge. like he's literally an NBA player, as he will not stop reminding us. Because, he played on the NBA, and he had a team on the NBA, and he's an NBA champion. Didn't he mention that he played on the NBA?
Is he in the NBA? I don't think so.
I think he was. He was. He doesn't deserve to be in the NBA.
Oh my God. But yeah, I sort of actually literally wanted to see Nick beat Scott because I would have thought that would be so funny if like this guy who played basketball in high school and then you beat the NBA player, that like he would never be able to live it down, and then it would just be so funny to see everyone else's reactions.
The thing is the ego. Like Nick already has a pretty big ego, and then I beat an NBA player. Yeah, I think that it's almost better for Nick that he lost, because I think he could have definitely shot himself in the foot if he was too egotistical about winning.
Yeah, definitely. I sort of wanted to see Scott lose so then everyone would be like, dang, Scott, were you actually on the NBA? You let this dude beat you. But I don't know. It would have been funny to see, but alas, that did not happen. But wow, Aubrey is more athletic than I thought, before we thought, maybe she would be out early and stuff, but she's holding her own. And then Michelle can't get the buoys released. Aubrey did it really quick, but Michelle couldn't do it. And then Nick says, come on, Michelle. Cute.
But yeah, so.
Yeah, that reward challenge, I was on the edge of my seat. I really just wanted to see Nick win. I wanted to see Scott lose.
They continued the physical element of it until the end, instead of giving them another puzzle. Just because it's not as fun to look at people doing puzzles, because with the basketball shooting, you can tell who's ahead decisively, because 7-5, as opposed to that person might have more of their puzzle done. So yeah.
Yeah, Scott had a huge lead going into the basketball part, and then Nick, gets ahead, and then Scott brings it back, and it was so funny. Sydney was trying to distract Scott by saying, Scott, what are you doing? And then Scott gets the basket, turns around, and is like winning, and then he gets that hashtag. That was just so sweet. If he missed that basket and said that, it wouldn't work, but since he sunk it, it was on point.
I think by the time he said winning, it was pretty obvious that it was gonna go in. So yeah.
Yeah, it was on point. I really liked that challenge. It was very nerve-wracking, just like the immunity challenge. So that's one of the factors that's one of the reasons why this episode was really good, because the reward and immunity challenge, it wasn't just oh, you can see who's going to win because they're visibly ahead. But this is sort of it's anyone's game.
Yeah, that was really good. So, after the reward challenge, both of the tribes go back to camp, and stuff begins to go down.
Yeah, so we can start with Gondal. That is the tribe, the yellow tribe. It's very confusing. That won the reward challenge. So it was good for Julia, entering on the good vibes, and then they can bond over food. So I thought that was really good for her. If they lost the immunity challenge, then I feel like she would have a bigger target on her back, because everyone would be down in the dumps, and then she would have to, work with that. Instead, everyone's all, yeah. Now everyone's all happy while eating, so it's very good for team bonding.
So, did Julia lie to Peter when she said she was a junior in college? Because I couldn't see how you could be 18 and be a junior in college, but I thought maybe she was a super genius or something.
No, I think she I texted you right when that happened. I was like, Julia's lie, yes, about her age. So I think yes, because in before interviews and stuff, I'm pretty sure she said I'm a freshman, just last year I was graduating high school. So definitely lying. I was like, yes, Julia, work.
My
because
sister didn't even realize that it was a lie, and I was like, "Did Julia just lie to Peter?" And she was like, "What?"
oh
So
man, because so junior in college you'd be like 20 or 21 per se, so that makes her, I guess, seem older than if she said I'm a freshman, so I'm just 18. It's good for Julia saying that lie.
I think part of it is also since they have to follow rules that are established in the United States when they're on the island, she isn't legally allowed to have alcohol. So I think she's going to have an interesting time trying to maneuver around that since a lot of the rewards do involve alcohol.
Yeah,
And I
that's
feel
what
like people wouldn't be like, "Oh, you're not drinking? Oh, that's cool."
Yeah, that's what I texted you. I was like, how is she gonna, like, if the reward challenge or something has alcohol, what's she gonna do about it? Because, yeah, I mean, one time, like, for Natalie Tenorelli or something, there was, like, alcohol, then Jeff is like, everyone but Natalie. But since Julia doesn't say her real age, it's on the DL. Nah, we'll see what happens if that ever comes up, because that would be interesting. Because Jeff can't, like, throw her under the bus like that.
I mean, I think he could if he wanted to. Because when you think about it, that wouldn't be any different than him pointing out her age in tribal council and being like, "Well, Julia, you're the youngest in this game, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah,
Like,
saying the youngest is different than being like you're 18. Because I
well,
guess,
he could say she's not allowed to have the alcohol without saying that she's 18.
yeah. And then
Because
if
that
you're
could also
junior,
mean that she was 20, turning
yeah.
21 like next month.
Because a junior and 20, that would be normal. If you're a junior in college and you're 20.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see about that. But I was like, yes, Julia, you go. Because I guess people are ageist, 18, they'd be like, she's probably really dumb, the sorority girl. But saying you're not that young, people have more respect and whatever for you, which is sort of dumb, but
Yeah.
everyone's got their qualms. But yeah, Peter was telling everyone that Joe and Aubrey are pissing him off, which is not, I don't know, it's an interesting tactic.
Interesting tactic. Yeah. I just think you shouldn't make your vendettas known because once you burn a bridge, it's really hard to build it again. And especially in a game like Survivor, it's important that you don't piss people off because if you do, that could end up biting you later when you need them on your side.
Yeah, it was interesting because you would think that someone saying like, "Oh, I'm on the bottom of the Brains tribe, let me work with you." They would want to work with him because it's like an easy number to go and vote the Brain tribe out, so they could easily vote Joe or Aubrey out because Ty, Julia, and Scott and Peter, if he went with them, would have the numbers. But everyone was just so wishy-washy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess
Peter. Hmm.
I guess no one just wants to work with Peter. He must have peeved some people off like so much because usually being a free agent like that, you wouldn't be the one to be voted out next.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Joe approached Peter, head on.
But I think that their tribe dynamics were kind of dictated by the fact that they had voted a beauty off earlier, just because I think it kind of set the tone and made it more believable that they would vote Julia off immediately after that. But
Yeah, and we can talk about that at the end when we're doing tribal and stuff, which it does have a lot to talk about because it is really interesting with the strategy and stuff. But it's also interesting before the immunity challenge, Joe is like, yo, if we lose this challenge, we got to get Peter out. So, like, what happened to that? Because after the immunity challenge, Joe was so steadfast in, no, I'm voting Julia, ride or die.
yeah, I didn't really get that. But
Maybe it's because those blocks hit him in the head. That's so
yeah,
bad.
that's so Chan Lo, aka they're the blue one,
Yes. The
aka
OP
the
tribe. They're the rockin' it. So we guessed right about Chandlo being amazing. It was a close immunity challenge, but Chandlo dynamics. This is also what I texted Alyssa during the episode. Sydney, so Debbie was saying about Michelle, because Michelle's going out in the water because she basically let her team down with the reward challenge. Debbie makes a drowning comment about Michelle going out there and going to drown herself, and then Sydney is like, "Damn, Debbie." No, but she literally got the Damn Daniel thing 2 years before Damn Daniel actually became a thing.
Damn, Daniel. But so, yeah, I I think that their dynamics we didn't get to see as much of just because they won the actual immunity challenge, and that's where it counts as far as dynamic building goes. But I think the fact that they lost the reward challenge kind of like I don't think it set them back so much as like motivated them to do better.
Yeah, and it was really sort of like Michelle and Nick centric what we saw. And Nick basically tells Michelle not to do, what to do, what not to do. And then Michelle goes all sass queen. I was like, yes. And then she is not letting Nick walk all over her. I was like, yes, girl, you go.
Yeah, I thought it was like on point. She a strong, independent woman who don't need no Nick.
Yeah, so it's interesting because Nick tweeted later, he was like, his intentions were good, but it was not the right way to go about telling Michelle what he was telling her about, we're doing this, we're doing that. And then Michelle's like, I'm not stupid, But it's also interesting because in a scene that Survivor on CBS posted, Neil is telling Debbie to stop talking too much. So basically, all of these guys on the season are trying to boss around the females, and it's like, nay, nay, not today.
I don't know. Someone made a comment on one of the like articles I was reading, and they were talking about how Survivor doesn't have a super good track history recently of like choosing males who are not super duper misogynistic just because like on white collar, blue collar, no collar with Will and Shireen and that whole stuff. And then last season they had an example that I can't remember. And then this season with like people like Scott and Jason, Survivor ain't doing so hot. Cause like I guess you could say it makes for good television. I don't know.
Yeah, like with Nick and Neil, they both, they've said like, whatever, it's not the right way to go about it. So that, I was like, yes, okay, okay. But some other people that don't really understand like what they're saying or the way they're saying it is wrong. Even to like other men, it doesn't have to be towards a female. Just being like, just talking down to people is like not cool.
Yeah.
Alas, I love Neil and Nick. They are my OTP.
Yeah, I think it's important, like, after you've said something to offend someone, like, apologize for it. Even if you don't believe that you've actually done something offensive, because, yeah. Anyways,
Yep.
immunity check.
Yep,
Hmm?
you're not gonna win Survivor if you just don't apologize to everyone, you just gotta swallow your own pride and just make everyone else happy.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they're the ones who are going to be, like, voting for you to get $1 million. Anyways, the immunity challenge. I liked the immunity challenge. I liked the way it was set up because I thought that it really emphasized the importance of teamwork within the tribe, especially that very first obstacle where they all had to like get up at once. I was kind of surprised that Scott didn't get up first just because he has the longest limbs. So for him, he'd just have to like stand up on his tiptoes and be there. But
Yeah, but he was helping push people up. So either way he went, he would be so useful since he's like a freaking giant, pushing people up the things or like pulling them over. He's useful anywhere, basically.
and
So
then was it Neil or Nick for the blue tribe who like leapt up like a freaking like jungle
The
thing.
A-frame?
Yeah.
It was Nick.
Yeah, so he like leapt up, and then I think he drags Kyle Jason up and some other people up, and they they were ahead, I think, until the point where they had to like start beating on the blocks. I don't think that they really understand how physics works, where if you want the blocks to move forward, you have to hit them at an angle. Because it looked like they were just hitting it straight up and down from where I was standing.
Yeah, because the other tribe, Scot and them, got through it so quick. They were just pop, pop, pop. All the blocks were out. Time to go stack them. Yeah, and so it was really a nerve-wracking immunity challenge also because it's, anyone's game. As we saw, it came down to the final seconds of sticking that block on. So Peter had the great idea of trying to do the small blocks first and then like lifting the small blocks up to put the bigger blocks underneath, which that's not even like the first logical thing you would think of. The first logical thing, like I'm sure both of us thought of, was put the big blocks at the bottom and then stack them up like normal.
I think, like Jeff was talking about in an interview he did with Entertainment Weekly, he was talking about it's not so much about whether or not their strategy works, but that they're trying to like think beyond the game and beat the game. Like where instead of using the stepping poles as like stepping poles, they used it to like carry someone across, and Jeff said that it's like that sort of thinking that makes a successful Survivor player.
Okay, so like outside of the box thinking. So normally one would think to stick the big blocks on the bottom, but outside the box to stick the small ones on the bottom and lift them up.
Well, yeah, and it would have worked too if the wind hadn't been so strong.
Yeah, it's all trial and error. You win some, you lose some, and
win some, lose most.
Yeah, that didn't really work out, so it fell onto Joe's head. And wow, these blocks must have been heavy, and it fell from a good height that Joe's head started to bleed.
I mean, it also could have just been if they had sharp angles, because, sharp things cut.
Yeah,
so the blue tribe pulled a narrow victory as Debbie stood up on someone's shoulders to, like, place the last block, and then they all leapt onto their mat, and they had to count to, like, 5 or something, and it was nerve-wracking. My heart was pounding.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh my God, who's gonna win? If the blue tribe loses, then none of us get the points. And then if the yellow tribe was like, Peter better go, because that's what I was saying last week. It was such a close challenge. Joe got checked by medical after and then I think he got like a stitch or something in his head. Yeah, and then Gondal goes and they go back, and then we can do before tribal talky talk. So yeah, Aubrey and Joe decide that they want to keep Peter to have the numbers over the others, and then they want to vote Julia out. So Aubrey is like, yo man, Joe, go apologize to Peter, and then all is well, all is good. Peter decides it's not the right time to vote Aubrey or Joe out, and he doesn't want to stir up the water. And then basically it flips, so everyone wants to vote Julia out then, which is crazy. I can see Aubrey and Peter wanting to keep, Aubrey and Joe
wanting to keep Peter
for the numbers, which also we'll talk about in tribal about what is the best strategy. And then Scot calls Peter a snake for flopping again. And then, yeah, do you want to talk about it some? Then I can add more.
I think it was pretty obvious that there were two different factions in the tribe, and I think the only thing that really made it exciting was the fact that there was some indecisiveness in Aubrey, just because I'm still not entirely sure why Joe decided that Julia absolutely needed to be the one to go. I think Aubrey's indecisiveness is what made it interesting, because if she had been like, okay, we're good, let's vote Julia, then it wouldn't have been very exciting.
Yeah, true, because definitely everything really happens right at Tribal because Julia tells Aubrey, Peter's trying to get y'all out, and then he'll backstab you once the merge comes because he's already trying to flip flop now. But then they're still afraid that Julia, Ty, and Scott will have the numbers. And then, like we said before, it's so crazy because Joe was the one saying if we lost, we definitely need to take Peter out. And then now he's the one who's the most loyal and won't flop over. And then because they don't know which way Aubrey's going, Scott and Ty are like, we can lose Julia. It's her time. If she has to go, she has to go. We'll vote for her. So then I think, before Tribal, everyone is going to vote Julia, and then Julia will vote Peter. But then, Aubrey is very indecisive. Should she stick with the brains and take out Peter or lose Joe's trust?
I think that Jeff once again was good at asking the right questions at Tribal to sow the seeds of discontent, or at least to give them a long enough time to start doubting themselves. Because towards the end of Tribal, people were talking is it the original plan? Is it Julia? What's happening? So
no, I know it was so lit, pun intended. The vote changed at Tribal because of how these guys answered Jeff's questions so well. They gave some info, but not too much, just enough to, like you said, cause the dissension, to cause people to second guess themselves. And then because we did see Scott is talking to Ty and saying original plan, right? So they were going to vote Julia going into Tribal, and then now Scott's telling Julia and Ty we're going to vote Peter. Interesting.
yeah, and then Aubrey literally changes her vote at the voting chapel. What is that called? The urn. So she writes down a name and then crosses it out, and I'm like, girl, why are you so over dramatic?
No, we saw this coming because they would not show us her writing Julia's name down if she were not gonna flip it. And I was like, girl, you better be getting a new piece of paper out because you are not writing Julia down.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. Are they only allowed one piece of paper so they don't stuff the ballot boxes?
But isn't it? I don't know. It's like a whole stack sitting there. Maybe she
wanted everyone to know just how indecisive she was.
Yeah, it's so hype. Audrey is really an unexpected star this season. Literally, I thought she'd be the first. Yeah, I thought she'd be the first one off Brawn's brain tribe.
Her name is Aubrey, not Audrey. Oh
no, yeah, I said Aubrey.
No, you said Audrey.
Okay, maybe I'm reading my B's as D's. But Aubrey is the unexpected star. She can read people really well, and she's making really good relationships out there. And I really feel like this is a good move for Aubrey to vote out Peter, because next week, even though they don't know it's the merge, but whenever there is the merge for them, he would have so flopped and then gave the other factions on the other side numbers. So right now, if Joe doesn't see what a blessing Aubrey did for them, I think Aubrey made the right move to get rid of Peter. But it's also
good to have allies, but you don't want allies that you can't trust, because then that kind of defeats the point of having allies.
Exactly. You got to get rid of them before they get rid of you. And Peter was going to backstab Aubrey and Joe, so they just got it one sooner, and that's the name of the game.
Yeah. Anyways, next time.
Yeet merge. I got mine planned out. Oh, wait, we never said who each of us were doing. You put yours in there and I'll talk in the chat. Okay, so the preview for next time, it shows Brawn and Brawn fighting for the beauty votes. Kyle Jason says, along the lines of basically the beauty don't go with brains to the prom or the dance, but beauties go with the jocks to the dances and stuff. Oh man, Alyssa, we're saying the same people.
Oh well.
So I was thinking it'd be 4 right now there are 4 Brain, 4 Beauty, and 3 Brawn. So it's if all the Brains and all the Brawn stick together at the beginning, it'd be 4-3. So the Beauty will split between the 2 of Brain and Brawn. I think Ty will go with the Brawn with Scot, obviously. So Scot will bring him in with Jason. So that'll be 4-4. And then I think Nick will go with Brawn also because, Nick and the girls, I really don't think like they're super close after like the whole Anna thing and Anna versus Nick. I really don't see all the beauties sticking together. I think they're going to split up into the 2 things. So Nick, I'll say he'll go with Brawn because we saw him talking with Michelle this episode saying, we're going to stick with Brawn and vote the Brain out. And then I think Julia and Michelle will stick together, and then they'll go with Brain since Michelle really likes Debbie, and maybe they'll be close. So I think they'll vote out either Scot or Jason, depending if the idol is used and if there is a medevac next week also, because in the preview there we see Jeff coming to camp, and then maybe a medevac happens, and then that would really mess up the whole kind of idol thing. And I really don't see Jason playing the idol for Scot. I really don't see Ty giving up the idol for other people. So I'm going to say Scot is going to go because everyone's going to see he's like a huge threat in the individual portion of the game. Basketball, he's super tall. He can rock those immunity challenges. You need to get him out early. So I'll say Scot in the event that Jason or Ty don't play the idol for him to make like a super idol, or no one gives up their idol, because I really don't. You got to save yourself. They're not going to do it, I feel like. But who knows? Maybe they'll give the idol to him. Your turn.
I am going to say that I think it's going to be Jason. Most of my logic applies with what you just said as far as like how the 2 tribes are going to split. But I think that Jason has the more like abrasive personality. Like he hasn't been making himself any friends in his merged tribe. Like he's been sticking mostly with Sydney and waiting for people to come to him, which I don't think is the best idea. And like Scot like actually has an influence on his tribe where he has connections with Ty and Julia now. And I think that that might keep him safe. But Jason might be like, oh, I can talk myself out of this one and not use his immunity idol, just because if you have an immunity idol, you don't want to use it unless you're like sure that you're going to go home. So.
Yeah, you don't want to like waste it, but then on the other hand, you don't want to be the one to be voted out with the immunity idol. So
yeah, because that's just embarrassing.
Risk and reward. We'll see. That's interesting. You think he'll be voted out with an immunity idol?
Yeah.
Ballsy.
And my sister was supposed to submit a guest for next week for the computer team, but she is currently over the Atlantic Ocean. So we can update the description once we find out who she says when she lands on the airplane. Anyway, prophecy point update for this week. My sister / the computer team gained 7.5 points this week. 4 for Scot doing the hashtag winning, and 3.5 for Peter placing. Rachel got 1 point for guessing Peter would go home this week. And I got +6 points. 5 for nicknaming the episode Play or Go Home, and 1 for Joe getting looked at by medical for his head.
Yeah, I have high hopes for my team making a huge comeback after the merge. Neil is the triple package. He's about to win immunity challenges to get some points.
Threat.
He's both the triple threat and the triple package with those ice cream pants, basically. Yeah, I don't know. Him or Sydney. I really think those 2 will rock the immunity challenges, so that'll be good.
Yay! Anyway, so we're super excited to see you guys next week after this episode. If you have any predictions you want to share with us, especially considering the maybe medevac, please place your comments down below, and we'll be happy to respond to them, as long as you're not being rude, because we don't like rude people. Anyways, we love doing this, so we're super happy that you're watching this, and we love you all.
Goodbye.
Mwah.